Hello and welcome to Courageous Conversations.
We're here to talk honestly about race, faith, and what it really means to love our neighbor at all costs.
Each and every episode, we are going to sit down with friends and leaders from across Kansas City to share stories. We're going to ask hard questions and we'll laugh a little bit along the way.
To unite people, unite neighborhoods, and eventually unite KC. Let's jump into today's conversation.
Well, hello, everyone out there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter where you are in the world. You have tuned in to another podcast of Courageous Conversations. I'm here with my co-host, Gary Kendall. Gary, why don't you do some yard work for us here?
Yes, thank you, Ray. I'd love to welcome you in as a listener and say that you can find our podcast on Apple. You can find it on Google Play. You can find it at the unitekc.org website and on YouTube. Love for you to subscribe, tap the bell, and listen in, like, share, because we want to grow the audience for people who have an appetite for courageous conversations.
Yes, well, I am telling what you guys are in for a true treat today. This is going to be one of our top podcasts, I can already tell. I am here with my good friend Roland from Oklahoma City. So I'm going to, first of all, read his bio and then kick it over to him and he'll fill in the blanks for me. So Lee's not just an ordinary guy. He's a superstar. And so he's very humble too, but let me just give you a little bit. Lee recently retired after more than 30 years in public education, 25 of which were in administration. Perhaps most gratifying to him are his last 12 years as the proud principal of Two Lakes Elementary, a high poverty, high diversity, and once failing school by any significant indicator that was completely turned around under his leadership. Because of the culture and the staff that remains, Two Lakes is now amongst one of the best schools in Oklahoma City. I'm almost done. Over his celebrated career, Mr. Roland served in the Oklahoma City public school system as well as the Putnam City School District. In addition to enjoying a great success as a special education teacher, principal, and superintendent liaison, Lee has spoken and presented at countless venues, conferences, and workshops across the state and country, particularly with regard to effectively addressing diversity, poverty, efficacy, and motivation. So, I have said all of the formal things about Lee, but that doesn't tell. As they say in the church I came from, the half has never been told. Lee is a great, great friend and mentor of mine. And just a little side note, Lee is a tenacious basketball player. Lee would give me fits. If we played pickup ball, I was so happy when somebody else said, well, I've got Ray. I said, oh, it's going to be a field day. And then eventually Lee could see what was happening, and he goes, I need you to switch up and let me take Ray. And that usually didn't end well. It's all over. He'd take it on home. So at any rate, Lee and I even traveled together to complete our education, just driving, did a lot of road window time. And so, Lee, again, welcome to Courageous Conversations. Why don't you tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal life?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, to Ray and Gary, I'm delighted to be on y'all's program. I've sampled some of your podcasts. I'm blown away with the work that y'all are doing, the depth that you all are going. So first of all, let me acknowledge you all. And then I want to acknowledge your listeners, if those that are in and around Kansas City. Some of the work that I've seen, witnessed, observed, is really, really mind-blowing, and I'm really, really encouraged by what's happening with the Unite KC effort. Yes, I'm Lee Roland. I'm a longtime educator here. Love to play basketball and stuff, and as Ray said, Ray was a heck of a basketball player, but I'm pretty tenacious about things that I care about, my family, my wife, kids, grandkids, all that. I'm very tenacious about my faith, first of all, but I'm pretty tenacious with regards to justice and equity. And so move in a lot of spaces here in Oklahoma City that address those from my work with Voyage Consulting to speaking and training and coaching, everything, motivating teachers, encouraging them. Hey, this is how you do. This is how you do it. All of that. I love helping them navigate these waters. Things are not like they used to be. The
Right.
good old days are gone,
Yes, sir.
and they're not coming back. Not those days. So we have to adjust to that. So I do training and speaking and motivation for teachers, but I'm also work in nonprofits that and serve on boards that try to make a difference here in Oklahoma City with regards to the underserved, the marginalized. And I'm super passionate about that. As Ray said, about basketball, never claimed to be the greatest basketball player, but I was always going to give 110%.
Yes, sir.
And anybody that played with me that didn't play with that kind of spirit, I really didn't want them on my team. I
Didn't work out.
wasn't concerned about their ability, but it was the effort that mattered the most to me.
Yes,
Play
sir.
hard.
Play hard.
Or don't play at all.
Yeah. Now, and for our listening audience, of the three of us that play, only one of us played on a college team. And it wasn't Lee, and it wasn't Ray Jarrett. It was Gary. So I just one last thing. So I really want to emphasize how important Lee is to our movement. If Gary, if you'll remember,
Amen.
he came to Kansas City and spoke to a group of our administrators and teachers. And he spoke at Portia's banquet. He was the featured Caring for Kids. Mm-hmm. And so we welcome him. We're definitely going to have him back in the Kansas City area. He provided some coaching to our leadership team. So it was great. Gary, I'm going to let you open up the salvo. We could talk to Lee for probably 2 or 3 hours, but go ahead.
Lee, you and I had the chance to meet in Colorado at a retreat.
Yes.
And we were there as city leaders. I was picking your brain as a city leader from Kansas City and asking you what you had learned over your tenure. I didn't realize what a conversation I started because it's a long tenure, but one that has had a lot of success. I was asking you that day really about what you learned from the school system and how we can bring more equity and justice in the school system and what are things we can do in these days. So is it all right if we start there?
It absolutely is. What I've learned from my personal experience and observation is there is a lot of apathy with regards to how some are not flourishing. So some people it's not my child, it's not my neighborhood. Therefore, I'm just not as concerned about it. If I don't see it, it doesn't exist. So there's apathy out there. Then there's a level, it didn't take long to learn this. You just open up my eyes one day and I saw it. Then there's this thing called ignorance, and that ignorance is sometimes, I'm not sure if it's intentional or it's unintentional. I'm intentionally ignorant, or I see it and I don't want to address it. Yeah. And I think those have been the two things that I've learned. And we have to draw people and help people understand that part of my message is if you don't feel compelled to be your brother's keeper, then maybe you should rethink it and understand that your brother or sister, the life you save, might be your own.
Oh, yes.
And I don't mean any disrespect, but I was just in another phone call, another conversation. In my community, we do have a lot of nicknames and things like that, and I'm not ashamed of that. That's part of our culture, a lot of nicknames. And so what I've had to tell our audience, it behooves us to make sure that Pookie has a job.
That's right.
Right.
It behooves us that Pookie has hope, because a hopeless man or a hopeless woman is a very dangerous person.
Right.
They have nothing to lose, and therefore they might commit any kind of atrocity because they don't have anything to lose. So if we give Pookie hope, that's good for all of us. Or
Absolutely.
Andrea, I don't care who they are, people with hope, it's better for all of us. So the apathetic or the people that feel like I'm not my brother's keeper, I'd like for them to reconsider that and rethink that.
Yeah, you're being kind because I think there is a lot of not only ignorance, but there's also turning the blind eye. And
Yes,
sometimes it's convenient not to care, so to speak. And I think
absolutely.
the thing that we have to really contend for is that if you, my brother, don't flourish, I don't flourish either.
That's right.
We flourish as a community or we suffer as a community, and we're in this together.
I agree, and I think the people that are on top fear that if these people rise, they'll be that much closer to me. If it is their aspiration, their intent that they are always on top, when they rise, the buoyancy will work. When these people rise, they'll continue to rise
Yeah.
and everything. So if that's your mentality, as I have to be the victor, I have to look down. You still get to look down if that's your desire.
Yeah.
You just other people are getting a
Right.
chance to rise too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's real simple math.
Yeah.
You know, Lee, we had an opportunity. It was just one of those I can't even believe this is happening moments. But we had a little period of separation where we were off trying to chase the ring and everything. But when we reconnected, I found out that we were doing the same kind of work, you in Oklahoma City and us up here in Kansas City. And so
How
maybe you
ironic.
could, it was just, I was like, you're doing what? And so tell us a little bit about the work that you've done with City Flourishing, with Human Flourishing, with Equity there in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, there are two organizations that I'm joined at the hip, or I'm a part of at the hip here in Oklahoma City, and one of them is Stronger Together OKC. And Stronger Together has endeavored to get the community, Oklahoma City, understanding this whole idea that it is better for us all if we flourish. We're stronger together.
Okay.
And that's real simple math again. When an organization, be it a city, a family, a church, when it's united, it's strong. I love to tell people, if I hit somebody with my fingers open like this, I am likely to incur more injury than they are. But if I hit them like this, then I've got a better chance of really kind of, winning and whatnot. And that happens for any organization. So Stronger Together Oklahoma City has endeavored to do that through all kinds of efforts, from prayer walks to actual conferences. And so what I do, I represent the education arm of Equity and kind of Unity, and I'm working to help make sure that our schools and people that are concerned about our schools, but we've got someone that represents communications, and so they connect with our media, our news outlets and whatnot. We have someone else that works with the churches, and they're working to get the churches involved. And so there are various components. So that is one organization that I have worked with and just been there since day one. And we've seen some real progress here in Oklahoma City around that
I
work.
love it.
I'm a part of another group called the Justice Circle, and you all should Google the work that's happening via the Justice Circle. We're holding about quarterly what we call breaking bread. And breaking bread is where we bring communities together, the Latino, Asian, Black, First American, we bring that community together and we break bread around the problems and the struggles that they're having. And so those are two organizations I'm very, very proud to be
Yes.
a part of. I'm very passionate about, because we've got to change this. We're doing the moonwalk. And if you can visualize Michael Jackson and everybody else that does that, we're doing the moonwalk backwards as it pertains to loving our neighbor right now in America.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't you go down for one of those?
Yeah, I came down for one of those to see what it was all about. Really enjoyed it. It was a full day. You had a conference, you had a speaker, you had a really nice meal. People from the community shared. I think I ran into you that day and just said hello.
We did.
I didn't even know I was going to see you. I had forgotten for the moment that you were in Oklahoma, and we ran into each other there. But I was very, very impressed. I told Ray about that. I thought that feels like, to me, it has wings. Even here in Kansas City.
Yes, for sure. So Lee, another question about the work that you're doing down there. I'm just fascinated. I read your book, and I was fascinated by the work that you did at Two Lakes. I mean, that was strong leadership, changing culture, helping the kids, and everything else like that. But I want to focus on what you may have learned or know. I mean, you probably knew this before you even got there, about how communities of color, they seem to have a little longer road towards educational success. And what I'm referring to is what I've learned from administrators. And they've told me you can't just come in and go, hey, we're going to help these kids to read better and stuff like that, when there are underlying issues that they have to deal with at home. I mean, that maybe other students don't have to deal with. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. This is a hashtag moment. You can't solve what you don't see. Okay? You can't solve what you won't see.
Right.
And so when I first got to Two Lakes, one of the things I ordered to that staff that I inherited, I said, what I would love to do is for each one of us to go and spend a week in the homes of the children that we serve.
Wow.
And it was, just kind of a dream idea, but basically we came as close as we could to going into their space and inviting them into our space. And what we did is we learned, really, these are issues that make it super, 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 I don't know if you heard me, super tough for these people to focus on education when I come to school hungry, when I come to school frightened, when I come to school with my basic, everybody learned it in college 101 class, when Maslow's lowest level, when those needs are not met, I can't be focusing on trying to learn some kind of math theory and concept. I'm hungry. Right. And so when my staff started to connect and empathize, they wanted to solve those problems. They wanted to address those issues. And unfortunately, that's where it's got to be done. The church is not doing it. The government, excuse my fun there, government is not handling it. And we found ways to access those resources that our families needed so that our children could learn. And so, again, the bottom line for this whole conversation is when my staff really became empathetic, number one, and then became knowledgeable, number two, the game changed.
That's beautiful.
The game changed.
I love that.
Ignorance is a real, real dangerous thing. Ray talks about reading my book. One of the things I share in the book is that not knowing what you don't know is a really, really scary thing.
Yes, it is.
And let me expound just a little bit. If you guys came into my home and my home was filthy, and I didn't know that my home was filthy, I was just like, hey, you guys come on in. You're going to draw some kind of conclusion about me, and immediately our connection is going to be threatened just a little bit. But if you came into my home and I said, excuse the mess, I'm cleaning up, you would excuse me and we could kind of connect and go on about our business.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, there's some people that are ignorant about themselves and some of the things that they're doing, the systems, and it's causing great harm and it's causing people not to connect, and
Right.
and unnecessary problems. But when we become knowledgeable about, oh, this is a deficit that I have. I didn't know this about you.
Right.
And sometimes, and Ray and Gary, some things I had to do is I had to educate our children and our families about things that they weren't aware of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so for those that thought, hey, I'm taking a punch at educators and the school system, no, I punched at everybody. Hey, we've got to do better. So
Yeah.
my kids
Good.
coming to school thinking, hey, it's all right for me to be disrespectful and talk. No. You got to handle your business, little guy. Mom, you got to handle your business. Teachers, we all have to handle.
Yeah.
We all got to do better.
Sure.
And so I empathize and I pity any educators, teachers that don't have leaders that understand the onus on the leadership to navigate the waters for the staff and help them and lead them and champion the work for them. I pity, and that's why I'm so passionate about training and working with them as well, because it really doesn't matter how dedicated and committed the teachers are if they don't have the leadership that they need.
Yeah. If they don't
So-
know, if they don't know what they don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons we started this podcast, Lee, is because Ray and I would have these conversations that would go wide reaching. We would talk for hours at a coffee shop, and then we would say, everybody needs to hear this kind of thing.
That's right.
I would talk about, my perspective as a white man. He would talk about his perspective as a black man and how we're both contending for flourishing. We're both contending for Christ. We're contending for our families. And we started saying, how many people don't have the value of a relationship like this? What if we could open ours up and talk to the people we know and love and let them hear from others? Would that move us further down the road? And we thought that it would.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
Lee, do you have those kinds of relationships down in Oklahoma City? Do you think?
I want to do some righteous boasting.
Okay.
And I hope
Go for it.
our listeners will really, really lean in. I have friends on the left and on the right.
That's
Yes. Yes.
I have friends on both. And should Lee and Wanda incur any kind of emergency here at 12 o'clock at night, I mean midnight, it's black as night, and we shot a flare up in the air, I don't know who would get here first, the left or the right,
That's
and
awesome.
who would
That's
stay the
beautiful.
longest.
good. Yeah.
My question is, how many people can say the same thing?
Yeah.
Yes,
not
sir.
many.
And therein lies the problem in America
Right.
right now.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm a little passionate.
No, sir.
But
No, sir. Go
therein lies the problem. We've got too many people that have relationships with people on either side,
Right.
and that's the only relationship. I've got people, I don't know. I mean, we don't believe the same thing. We don't believe the same thing, but they love me. I don't have any question about it. And I love them. And that's where we got to get in America. And that's where
That's
I
beautiful.
think you all, it's okay to speak about faith.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
where we have to get with believers.
Right.
If you're a true believer, then your friends and your connections, unless there's nobody else in your town, unless everybody looks like you need to be intentional about creating relationships.
Amen.
And let me tell you, the easiest way to be intentional
It's gonna be good. I'm
is to
leaning
be
in.
Christ-like.
Yes.
And you will draw people to you.
Yes,
You will
sir.
draw people. They see something different in you. And that's why I have the connections that I have. That's why I have the friendships. those guys, I mean, I'm telling you that we vote different, we live in different communities, but we love one another because that's what Christ told us to do. And I'm challenging people that are listening here and saying, I love people. Here's another, you guys got to, your listeners really need to lock in on this.
Okay.
Listen, when you say, hey, I love everybody, I love these people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to say, you don't get to measure that. You need to ask the people on the other end of you, do they feel loved by you?
Ooh,
That's right.
That's good
That's
preaching,
real
brother.
good. That's real
Ray
good.
knows I've been married a long time.
Yes, sir.
I've been married a long time. And I have always thought, man, I'm doing a great job. But ask my wife.
Right.
Ask my wife. Sometimes she's not giving me a good grade. I don't get to grade my own paper.
That's right.
You don't get to say, oh, I'm doing a great job at loving my neighbors. Ask them, Kansas City.
Right.
Ask
right.
them, Oklahoma City. The neighbors, ask them.
Ooh,
Man,
that's good preaching.
All right, you're all right, Pastor Gary. Could you please give an altar call? We need an altar call, or either that, I can take up the offering. One of the two. One of the two.
That's
Lee.
good.
That's awesome. You know, Gary's heard me say this, and many other people. I don't care how successful the Lord decides to make me, as far as money, because that's how a lot of people measure their success.
Right.
The richest thing I have is that I can say I have relationships with many people from all walks of life. That's my biggest. That is my biggest. That's my biggest treasure here. So yeah. So I will tell you what. Gary is the same way. Now, see,
I believe that.
So I'll say this little thing because I always like to plug for Gary. So when I met Gary, Gary just goes, hey, I'm just a regular guy, it's just me. And then I find out from just about every leader I've run into, oh no, Gary he's the man. So he started a lot of the initiatives that we have here in Kansas City related to equity and inclusion, and that's a buzzword, but just treating people right that don't look like you, and so I applaud his efforts, and it makes me want to ask you, this is a two-pronged question. So where are we headed when it comes to these initiatives that we've been working so hard and sweating and praying and believing for, in both just neighboring and in education? Where are we headed?
I believe that we're headed to either a breakthrough, a breakthrough that God is going to take, in this case, these 6 tiny hands, weak hands, now rather senior hands, and he's going to take the fish that we're trying to dish out, and he's going to take that and multiply them. We're either going there or we're about to implode, and I hope it's the former. But this, I think it's a great possibility that, and I hope this doesn't come to fruition, but I think it's a possibility we will see that the haves and the have-nots, it grows wider. And if that happens, America is really, really, really in trouble if that happens. And I'm hoping people will wake up. I don't know how they ever took the concept woke that never came from us. Because Black people, if they used it, it was temporary, and they only were thinking, do you see me?
Right.
Do you see me?
Right.
Hey, that's all they were ever asking. But we will see this divide just grow wider and wider, and it will not be good for America. It will not be good for our kids or our grandkids. And this is mind-blowing to me, friends, listeners. I was fortunate just a month or so ago to go to Italy, and I was there for 10 days with a school chaperone, and it was a great opportunity for me, just fun. But what Americans don't realize is that we're about to do something, and we're going to make a big deal of it, and we should. A 250-year celebration
Yes, sir.
this summer. That is in time. That is just a speck in time.
Right.
I was in buildings. I was on streets that are thousands year old. I was
Yeah.
in, and those people thought they were going to be on top forever.
Yep.
They thought they were going to thrive and just be ruling the world forever. I think if America has any chance of being successful and being the nation that we claim that we are and that we desire to be, then these nonprofits like Unite, KC, and Strong Together, these will have to break through. And I think with God's help, it will happen. We need to get people that are not in the choir, okay?
Yeah.
Because we can get at our events, we can get the choir to come,
Sure.
and they will come.
Yeah.
But we need to get people that are not in the choir, legislators, pastors. Pastor Gary, I know that's your background, and you've done tremendous good. But I'm just praying. And this is literally, honestly, my prayer that God, you and Ray both, me included, that God would enlarge our territory.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want him to make it big so that we can push back the darkness that is.
Right.
There's way too
Right.
much darkness.
Yes, sir.
And I'm praying that he'll give it to you. There'll be some funders. There'll be some listeners. There will be, consistent givers, consistently showing up, because our future depends on us working
does.
together.
It does.
It's our own, it's this country's only chance of living up to our creed. It's the only chance.
That's right.
Man.
That's right. I love that.
What do you got, Gary? Anything else before
No,
we?
I'm just thinking of Lee, when you're saying what you're saying, I couldn't agree with you more. And the interesting thing is, our Constitution says that, our Bill of Rights says that, like, it's in paper, it's in print, but we don't always live it out. And I feel like that we have to reclaim that in this day. And
Absolutely.
even in the time it was written from a perspective that wasn't inclusive. But that is our opportunity now to go claim that and make it true in this generation. I do have hope, and I'd be interested to see what you think. With my grandkids, we're going to a school where I think they spoke 19 different languages. And, they were coming home with a friend from India one day, and a friend from the Philippines the next, and then a black friend and someone from Mexico. And, it didn't seem to faze them at all. Like, I think if I had been trying to tell them about racial challenges, they wouldn't have known what I was talking about. And I wonder if that kind of innocence that seems to sometimes get lost around junior high or high school, is there a way to claim that even into adulthood and keep it? I would love that if there's a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just between the three of us, that is my only hope, is that it is our children.
Yeah.
I don't have hope in our generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our generation, and please, I probably shared this when I came to Ray's event, I'm not calling anyone an animal. I'm not. So please, listeners, please forgive me, pardon me. But I am in Oklahoma and a long ways away from you guys' target audience.
Can't get to it.
But I've heard it said. I don't have any in my household, but I've been told that you can't teach an old an old dog new tricks. You can't. And I'm not calling anybody, but it's a great analogy.
Right.
And so for people that are 60 plus, it is super, super hard to look at things through a different lens, because it's always been this way, and this is where I was raised. These kids are being raised in an entirely different America.
Right.
Yes.
And so, yes, they have generally kind of been young and innocent, and then the older people have influenced them to be think differently.
Yeah.
But I believe that the culture that they're being raised in through the music, through the
Yeah.
arts, through
Yeah.
sports, I think these young people will be different adults. And I tolerate
hope and
adults,
pray,
but I
yes.
truly, truly love and try to pour into children because I believe they got a different mindset.
Right.
Gary, you speak about that. My grandson, uh, he and a little girl that he didn't know, that they next door. So he was over visiting. He's over here visiting.
Mm-hmm.
He and a little girl next door. We had a little snow on the ground, and so I hadn't even met the mom. I never met her. So she was out there getting her mail. I was getting my mail, and she had her children with her. I had my grandson. Within 5 minutes, they were laying in the snow making snow angels.
I love it.
Within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We will be together for 5 years
Yes.
at 60 plus years, and we won't get in the same church.
Yes.
No, sir.
Oh,
We
Yes,
won't
sir.
get in the same building together. And these kids will do it naturally. And I think we
I love
will
it.
see
I
as
love it.
they grow and mature and people pour into to teachers like you guys are doing, pouring into leaders like you guys are endeavoring to do. I do believe that we will see a change in America because we don't have a knowledge problem.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We have a willingness problem.
Yeah.
And so we just have been unwilling to change. And I think some things that are happening nationwide have pushed us back. And I'm asking the church and asking for people that really care about this country to really ask questions and really evaluate
Yeah.
things for themselves. Don't let a leader do it. Don't let social media do it.
Right.
Look, and we've got a pretty good example in how we're supposed to do this when we look at a man named Jesus and
Absolutely.
That's right.
how he walked.
I'll tell you one quick story. If
Yeah,
you
go
got
ahead.
time for it. So I was at a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and like everyone else, there was probably 250 of us who were just thrilled with the bride and the groom. And afterwards, we're talking to everybody. And at this wedding, it was probably, I'd say, 60, maybe 70% Latino. And as I was talking to the father of the groom, father of the bride, it hit me that about 12 years ago, I invited this man to come up and join our church staff and come up from McAllen, Texas. He's originally from Monterrey, Mexico. So he's a Hispanic man. And he came up with his family. We started a campus at our church for Spanish-speaking people. Okay. And that campus has had a really good history for a dozen years or so. And it hit me that, we the day that we first met on the phone, we talked for about an hour. And one of the things we talked about was would the conviction we had that a white pastor could hire a Hispanic man in our church. We were honestly saying, will this work? Like, can we start a Spanish-speaking congregation? When we didn't have any Spanish-speaking people in our church at that time. It was more of a concept that I knew that with the browning of America, by the 50s, we'll have over 50% of our country will be brown, or instead of white. And I was thinking, we got to prepare for that. I mean, it's 25 years away or so. And so anyway, I hired him out of a conviction and a belief that this would be good for our church. It was great for our church. And now here's this wedding taking place with about 250 people there. Almost all of them came out of that one conversation that started with a conviction, not anything different than I didn't know him, he didn't know me. We both had a conviction this was necessary and asked that God would bless it and make it work. And now here's this whole wedding taking place full of people that came up because two people of a different culture agreed to say, let's try it.
Man, isn't that a great story?
It was a wonderful feeling just to think back and see how God blessed that decision.
I love it. I love it.
Well, Lee, I'm going to extend an invitation to you, and then we'll end with one more personal interest story. So, Gary and I are working on an initiative called Read KC, and there's a national organization that wants to partner with us to help us bring that. As a matter of fact, it's kind of based off that Steph Curry video where they talk about the people. I mean, and it was just
to bridge the literacy gap.
That's right, to bridge it. So we definitely would love to have you come up and consult with us and help guide us through that process. We're just getting started on that, and I'll tell you like they told me when they offered me the job at Unite KC. Go ahead and pray about it, but just know that you can't say no. All right.
Hey, brother, I love it. I love it. I want some more of it. I really, honestly, Gary, Ray and I have talked about you. We've talked about the work that you guys are doing, that the work that you're endeavoring to do, and you have prayers coming from your sister state, because this, I don't believe this, people understand really the magnitude of this. This is at the heart of God.
Oh, it is.
It's how we treat one another. And I love to get in front of people, and I'm holding back the thrusters now, because when I get in front of people, I tell people, listen, what is the greatest commandment? And everybody knows that greatest commandment.
Yeah.
We love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. What is the second one? And if we do that second one, really everything else will fall into place. And it is to love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yes.
And if we could get that wrapped around our minds and around our hearts, Oklahoma City is going to flourish. Kansas City is going to flourish. America is going to thrive when we start to love our neighbors as ourselves.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
and I'll be there.
I'm going to do my big dismount now, Gary, and then you can close us out. So, after you and I, I left Oklahoma. There, I started probably a 25-year reign of terror at the church I went to, in the game of ping pong / table tennis, right? So much so that my son was like, Dad, this basketball shouldn't have been your deal. It should have been ping pong. So he played professional ball, as you know, and then he went overseas. He comes back with this nice paddle. I mean, a really nice paddle. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. And so I'm getting ready to put it away. And he sees 8 or 9 paddles. And he goes, what is this? And so here we go. Here it is. I said, son, I have a friend that you've met. And you know his son. Y'all hung out. Lee Roland gave me fits. And the problem I had was that he was beating me every day. I'm getting all these fancy paddles. I'm trying all these spins. Lee had a cork paddle. It was literally looked like it took him 10 minutes to make it. It had a handle on it. It was tacked together, and he beat the mess out of me with that. Do you still have that cork paddle, Lee?
Man, that paddle's long gone.
Good. I'll play you now. Now I'll play you. Man, it was so great.
Get out the golf sticks nowadays, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the way we'll go. Lee, it was just a pleasure having you, sir.
Yes.
Like I said, we could talk for hours, but thank you for coming and enlightening our viewers. We appreciate it.
God bless you, KC. Your work needs to be done. My heart went out to you guys a few years ago. You were celebrating a big event. And those kinds of things we can see really in our rear view mirror when we start to really try to take care of our citizenship. That what we see is a reflection of society and what's going on. So I sincerely pray for Unite KC, and I'm asking your listeners to tell other people, listen in and be a part of this work, and see what God does when we are unite together.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well, Gary,
Thank
why don't you
Lee.
take us out, man?
I think Lee just said what I was going to say.
There you go.
I can add to it that you can find this podcast on Google Play. You can find it on Apple. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it at unitekc.org. And one reason to go there would be to find all of the latest events. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we just encourage you to share. If this has been helpful to you, then share it with someone else and encourage them to listen on, because we have a lot of work to do. Like this is a heavy lift, and it's a daily lift. And so we need to build the people who will become advocates for continuing to be a good neighbor and to fulfill the Great Commission and the Great Commandment.
Well, hey, thanks, listeners, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
God
Courageous.
bless. Love you guys.
See you now.
Good night,
Thank
KC.
you, brother.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Courageous Conversations.
We hope you heard something that encourages you to start these conversations in your own life.
Because when we talk, listen, and learn together, we move closer to uniting people, uniting neighborhoods, and uniting KC.
And don't forget, you can find more stories, events, and resources at unitekc.org.
So until next time, go love your neighbors at all costs.